Welcome to the Daily Bible Reader Podcast. I am your host, Rakia Collins, and the mission of this podcast is to read the Bible from beginning to end every single year, starting in 2024. If that mission sounds interesting to you, I'd encourage you to grab your Bible and read along with me. On today's episode, we are going to be reading Exodus chapter 23 through 25. So picking up with Exodus chapter 23. You shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. You shall not fall in with the many to do evil, nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit, siding with the many so as to pervert justice, nor shall you be partial to a poor man in his lawsuit. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall bring it back to him. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving him with it. You shall rescue it with him. You shall not pervert the justice due to your poor in his lawsuit. Keep far from a false charge and do not kill the innocent and righteous, for I will not acquit the wicked. And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of those who are in the right. You shall not oppress a sojourner. You know the heart of a sojourner, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt. Laws about the Sabbath and festivals. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its yield, but the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field may eat. You shall do likewise with your vineyard and with your olive orchard. 6 days you shall do work, but on the 7th day you shall rest, that your ox and your donkey may have rest, and the son of your servant woman and the alien may be refreshed. Pay attention to all that I have said to you, and make no mention of the names of other gods, nor let it be heard on your lips. 3 times in the year you shall keep a feast to me. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. As I commanded you, you shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in it you came out of Egypt. None shall appear before me empty-handed. You shall keep the feast of harvest, of the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. You shall keep the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of your labor. 3 times in the year shall all your males appear before the Lord God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with anything leavened, or let the fat of my feast remain until the morning. The best of the first fruits of your ground you shall bring in the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Conquest of Canaan promised. Behold, I send an angel before you to guard you on the way and to bring you to the place that I have prepared. Pay careful attention to him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. But if you carefully obey his voice and do all that I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. When my angel goes before you and brings you to the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites, the Hivites and the Jebusites, I blot them out. You shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do as they do, but you shall utterly overthrow them and break their pillars in pieces. You shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from among you. None shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. I will send my terror before you and will throw into confusion all the people against whom you shall come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you, and I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the wild beasts multiply against you. Little by little, I will drive them out from before you until you have increased and possessed the land. And I will set your border from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the Euphrates, for I will give the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them and their gods. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you. What I love about chapter 23 is that, similar to the other call-outs I've been making about the previous chapters, God is really calling out what it is that He expects from us. And I think that is so amazing because it really lets us know that we serve a God that cares about our human interactions. We serve a God that cares about how we treat one another. We serve a God that wants to make sure that we are treating each other with the dignity and the respect that we deserve. And I think that is just phenomenal. I love the way that chapter 23 specifically ends, especially in verse 33, where it says, "They shall not dwell in your land," referring to the other people that are around the Israelites, "lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you." And what I love about this is that this is where we see God giving a clear call out, like, listen, I so far have given you the play. Just run the play. Like, run the play. Do exactly what I'm telling you to do. And I first heard the term, like, run the play when I started watching football. And like last year, I'm not like a normal football person, but I just started watching football last year. And they have this concept of like run the play, where like the coach gives the play and they're just expected to run and to execute the play. That's it. Just run the play. Just do exactly what I am telling you to do. And I think that the world, even like modern times, we would just be so much better off if we just ran the play that God was giving us. We literally just ran the play. Literally just do what God is telling you to do. Don't overcomplicate the situation. Don't go to, this person or that person or try to get their advice about it. If you know what God is clearly telling you to do, just run the play. And that's really what I got from really that last section of chapter 23, is to make sure that we run the play that God gave us to execute on. Chapter 24, the covenant confirmed. Then he said to Moses, "Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship from afar. Moses alone shall come near to the Lord, but the others shall not come near, and the people shall not come up with him." Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the rules, and all the people answered with one voice and said, "All the words that the Lord has spoken, we will do." And Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. He rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he set young men of the people of Israel who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he threw against the altar. He took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. And they said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do, and we will be obedient. And Moses took the blood and threw it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you in accordance with all these words. Then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel went up, and they saw the God of Israel. There was under his feet as it were a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven for clearness. He did not lay his hand on the chief men of the people of Israel. They beheld God and ate and drank. The Lord said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and wait there, that I may give you the tablets of stone with the law and the commandment which I have written for their instruction. So Moses rose with his assistant Joshua, and Moses went up into the mountain of God. And he said to the elders, wait here for us until we return to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a dispute, let him go to them. Then Moses went up on the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the seventh day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain, and Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I just want to start with chapter 24 by reading a couple of the verses that we have here at the very top of the chapter. So chapter 24, verse 1. Then he said to Moses, come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship from afar. Moses alone shall come near to the Lord, but the others shall not come near, and the people shall not come up with him. I love the level of distinction that God has placed on Moses. Like, we've always known, reading up until this point, that Moses was special and that Moses was different, but it is obvious, it is very clear that there is a distinction between Moses and even the 70 Israelites and Aaron and those people that are able to worship God from afar. Moses is still just that one. And I think from a relationship perspective, that's where we should all strive to be with God. We should all strive to know him in a way that is so intimate and that we're so connected to him that, yes, there may be other people that have a relationship with God, but we want to strive to be that one that is super close to God, that can come to God even when other people may have to stand afar off, because we've built such a relationship with God. We've gone through so much, and we know that he is there, that he is real, and that he will never, ever, ever leave us. And so I really love the way that the Bible kind of breaks out the fact that, yes, there are people who can't even go up to the mountain. There are people who can go up to the mountain but have to stand back. And then there's one person that can actually come into the presence of God. And I love the fact that we can see that different level of tearing in this particular chapter. The next thing that I wanted to bring up comes from the end of chapter 24. And it talks about in verse 18, Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain, and Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. So Moses was there for a very long time. And we can assume from being up there for 40 days and 40 nights that he did not eat for those 40 days and 40 nights and was just in the presence of God, just in the presence of the King. And I absolutely love that. Just to be in a space with God where it is just you and him. I think that is just outstanding. Chapter 25. Contributions for the sanctuary. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel that they take for me a contribution. From every man whose heart moves him, you shall receive the contribution for me. And this is the contribution that you shall receive from them: gold, silver, and bronze, blue and purple and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen, goat's hair, tanned ram skins, goat skins, acacia wood, oil for the lamps, spices for the anointing oil and the fragrant incense, onyx stones and stones for setting, for the ephod and for the breastpiece. And let them make a sanctuary that I may dwell in their midst. Exactly as I show you concerning the pattern of the tabernacle and all of its furniture, you shall make. The Ark of the Covenant. They shall make an ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be its length, 1 cubit and a half its breadth, and 1 cubit and a half its height. You shall overlay it with pure gold, inside and outside shall you overlay it, and you shall make it a molding of gold around it. You shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them on its 4 feet, 2 rings on the one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. You shall make poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. And you shall put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, to carry the ark by them. The poles shall remain in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And you shall put into the ark the testimony that I shall give you. You shall make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall be its length, and 1 cubit and a half its breadth. And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold, of hammered work shall you make them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub on the one end, and 1 cherub on the other end. Of 1 piece of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubim on its 2 ends. The cherubim shall spread out their wings above, overshadowing the mercy seat with their wings. Their faces one to the other toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubim be. And you shall put the mercy seat on the top of the ark, and in the ark you shall put the testimony that I shall give you. There I will meet with you, and from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim that are on the ark of the testimony, I will speak with you about all that I will give you in commandment for the people of Israel. The table for bread. You shall make a table of acacia wood. 2 cubits shall be its length, 1 cubit its breadth, and 1 cubit and a half its height. You shall overlay it with pure gold, and make a molding of gold around it. And you shall make a rim around it, a handbreadth wide, and a molding of gold around the rim. And you shall make for it 4 rings of gold, and fasten the rings to the 4 corners at its 4 legs. Close to the frame the rings shall lie as holders for the poles to carry the table. You shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, and the table shall be carried with these. And you shall make its plates and dishes for incense, and its flagons and bowls with which to pour drink offerings, you shall make them of pure gold. And you shall set the bread of the presence of the table before me regularly, the golden lampstand. You shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand shall be made of hammered work, its base, its stem, its cups, its calyx, and its flowers shall be of one piece with it. And there shall be 6 branches going out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side of it, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side of it, 3 cups made like almond blossoms, each with calyx and flower. On one branch, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms, each with calyx and flower on the other branch. So for the 6 branches going out of the lampstand. And on the lampstand itself there shall be 4 cups made like almond blossoms with their calyxes and flowers, and a calyx of 1 piece with it under each pair of the 6 branches going out from the lampstand. Their calyxes and their branches shall be of 1 piece with it, the whole of it a single piece of hammered work of pure gold. You shall make 7 lamps for it, and the lamps shall be set up as to give light on the space in front of it. Its tongues and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be made with all these utensils out of a talent of pure gold, and you shall make them after the pattern for them, which is being shown you on the mountain. So for chapter 25, the main commentary that I wanted to give was from a structural perspective. While Moses is on this mountain, God is giving instructions on how he expects his sanctuary to be built, the artifacts that are going to go inside of the sanctuary, like the Ark of the Covenant and the golden lampstand, the table for bread. Those are major items that are going to be inside of the sanctuary, and God is giving very explicit instructions on how to build them and what they should be built out of. And I will tell you, it is chapters like this in the Bible that make me hate the phrase, the devil is in the details. No, he is not. He does not care about the details. We see and we serve a God that cares about what is going on this golden lampstand. How is it going to be made? What is it going to be made out of? So I know that was a bit of a pet peeve that I inserted there, but I genuinely cannot stand it because it's just not the truth. It is a saying that we say as humans, and I don't know why we say it, but it is just absolutely not true. As we read over the next few chapters, you'll see that God is very, very detail oriented, and he actually cares about the details. You can look at the way we're made as humans, that God cares about the details. And so that's all my commentary that I have for chapter 25. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you found some value out of this content. If you did, please leave me a rating or a review wherever you are listening. This would mean the absolute world to me, and I'd love to hear from you on social media. Please feel free to reach out on Twitter at His Eternal Word, 1, and please feel free to visit the website at www.thedailybiblereader.com, and I hope you stay tuned for the next episode.